Hello, happy Wednesday, everyone. My name is Craig Dixon. I'm here with David Putz of JKP Holdings, and we're going to talk about some note investing. David and his company have been in business for some over 13 years, I think, and I think you do almost everything related to note investing or have. And maybe you could just explain what you do and what you offer to the note investing community.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much for having me. One of the things that we've tried to push upon the people we've interacted with is just networking. Get to know each other, talk to other people, have a good idea of who you are and what best interests you, and maybe find someone that has the same interests as you or maybe local to you. We've been big on resources and services and some things like that to help you get to the next step. I think a lot of people get stuck in the beginning because they just don't know what they don't know. And what they realize is that the network community that they build and collect will help them overcome some of those fears. But definitely jumping in is probably the best way to kind of get started. But we started years ago a Facebook group that's large and been adding resources and run, webinars to kind of talk about different topics in areas that we've been touching upon for the last 8-9 years now in our webinars. So it's awesome. We also provide services such as resources, servicers, things like when the next note conference is coming up, and due diligence platform where we provide services such as collecting data for properties, as many as you need to run analysis on it. We have some classes, but we really, truly look to networking. We'll be speaking at Note Expo in about a week or so from now. And we provide those kind of services for everyone to kind of learn and to grow, right? We encourage networking with not only us, but everyone in the space so you can learn from each other.
Yeah, absolutely. There's so many moving parts in this industry and networking. And I with the people I've been working with, usually somebody has one part of the puzzle, somebody else has the other part of the puzzle, and combined, there's lots of opportunity for working together in this business.
Absolutely.
For sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I'm one of the most. I guess I'm to jump in the deep end here. Due diligence is probably the one thing that is the most important thing to do, and also for some maybe the most daunting. Do you want to talk a bit about that?
Sure. We actually have a huge, me and my podcast webinar partner, Nathan Turner, we did a whole webinar on this, and that there's two parts to due diligence, right? There's the pre-bid due diligence and the post-bid due diligence. And the pre-bid due diligence is just collecting property data, information, as well as the note data, making sure you have all the points that are crucial to it to get an idea of where the property value is at, what the annual tax amount is, things like that, and then create your calculator to make an offer on those scenarios. We highly encourage your calculator to include such things as performing and non-performing. Please don't only focus on performing and expect it to perform for life. We also encourage you to predict the fact that a non-performer may reinstate and go performing. So both sides of the coin happens, but your due diligence are crucial on analyzing the property, getting your values, including the annual tax amount, which is in case it defaults, and then running your calculator, which you never do in calculators, bid based on like ROI or percentage of UPB or percentage of BPO. We encourage those to do the math part of it and run things such as IRR or yield or NPV, which we've been doing for years because the math, we're buying a bond, truly, not really a real estate property. It's not a rental. It's truly a bond that has a maturity date. And then the post due diligence is a little bit more, invasive, where you're reviewing collateral files. On our website, we have the top questions we ask every seller for, because you need to review the collateral file, review the notes of the servicer, make sure that the numbers that were on we call it tape, and the match the property matches what you're seeing in the collateral file. You also want to pull title and things like that. So there's all kinds of vast things. In the post due diligence, we use our due diligence portal to go find local REO agents where we don't pull BPOs. We don't really trust BPOs. Not that the people who are doing it wrong or whatnot. It's not as complete as what we find when we reach out to our 10,000 plus REOs, agents nationwide, ask them for a local expertise knowledge. So we use that in our post due diligence when we have a bid that's accepted to confirm the values of the property, confirm the note numbers, and then we take the collateral and send it to our attorney to review and make sure it's a foreclosable file.
Yeah, for sure.
It's a lot.
It's a lot. Yeah. So you mentioned quite a few different pieces, like the servicers, and maybe for somebody who's a little bit new to the note investment space, what does a servicer do?
Great question. So servicer, for those who are familiar with landlording and rental properties, is similar to a property manager. They collect your payments and they deal with the in this case, the borrower, which is weird because most people don't realize if we just interchange some of the words we use in our note space, it's identical to landlording, right? Or real estate, right? A non-performing landlord rental property is a tenant who's not paying. And then the flip side is if a borrower is not performing in our space, it's a non-performing note. So, and then when you run to a property that's non-performing, it could be either a rental that's defaulted or a property that's damaged and needs to be kind of picked back up and fixed. And then they can sell it, rent it, or do whatever you need to do with it. What we find is that people get overwhelmed, but if we just change the wording, it makes it a little bit easier for you to understand what this really means. And when we talk about note investing, it is a legal side of real estate investing. We do work with the property, but it's not directly. We're dealing with borrowers. So our servicers will reach out to our borrower, interact with them, collect payments for them, send out statements for them, and does all the hard work, the day-to-day work that us note buyers can do other things with. So it's really beneficial to use servicers, attorneys, and realtors who are local and experts in their field. That's what we focus on, the REO. So those are three things we work with on a daily basis when we evaluate assets. Doing this over 13 years, we've definitely had our hurdles and struggles, made some mistakes along the way, and I'm sure we will continue to make mistakes as we move forward.
Yeah, I think, and for one thing, is things are changing, right? As we go, the economic conditions change. Sometimes the regulations change.
Absolutely.
All those things. And it sounds like you've hard-earned experience in many of these areas. Absolutely. And yeah.
So, with that said, when you said with the regulations in our bid calculator, we include things such as what the statute of limitations per state is, which states require a debt license, which states there's Fannie Mae court fees, and then there's actually Fannie Mae fees for attorneys, and then there's the court fees. And the court fees, publication fees, and auction fees are separate from that. So yes, each state has their own kind of setup, how they foreclose, the timeline, the costs, and the statute of limitations based on 6 different parameters.
Yes, a lot of moving parts.
Yes, a lot.
And we should probably take a look at, you offer help in many of these areas, like about the services. If I heard you correctly,
yes,
you have like a database of people to recommend, and lawyers and other people that you might need, insurers, I'm sure.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, we have a list of all the servicers, their fee schedules and things like that. So you can kind of pick and choose. One of the key things with servicers, you need to make sure that they are licensed in the state of the property, because they need to be able to collect debt in that property. If not, they would not board that note on their platform. Yeah,
that's one of the other things, is that you have to know what applies in each state. Even just like all of the states have different foreclosure procedures and those kinds of things, depending what kind of property it is. So there's a lot to know.
Yes. Yeah. It's a lot to know, but it's also part of your process, right? It's part of what you need to do and learn. We do it all the time for our business, but we need to learn it for ourselves so we understand it. We encourage those not to buy or get a calculator from somebody else, a bid calculator, because you don't know how to build it. You don't know what's involved in it. You don't understand how it works. Yeah. And when you have something like that, you really can't do what you need to want to do, because it causes a problem. Because if you need to adjust something, you have no clue how to work. So we encourage
Yeah,
you to go through a class of some sort to build a calculator that has all the points we've spoken about.
yeah. I have a lot of software experience, and that's almost never something off the shelf will do. They can do maybe 80% of what you need, and then you've got to do it, and you can't get there from there.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
you have to be creative, and sometimes it's easier just to build it. If I understand you correctly, part of it is by understanding all of those calculations, all of those things yourself, rather than relying on a tool, then you get a deeper understanding of what it is. So at least you can evaluate whether the information you're presented is reasonable.
Absolutely, right. And if a seller counters something, if you can or can't go that low or whatnot, right? Or if
Yeah,
a number changes, it's not accurate. How do you adjust on the calculator? Those are crucial things that we actually teach in our advanced course, how to build that calculator and work through it,
yeah,
because it's a crucial thing. But we understand that that's not step one for most note investors, right? We
yeah,
talked a couple weeks ago on our live call about understanding about partials versus hypothecations. Partials are a great way to get started in the note space. You're buying a string of payments, and you have a seller to kind of help you along if it defaults. So it's really kind of crucial for newer investors to learn that stuff, but also get part of networks, right? You ask questions.
part of the network. Do you provide any investment opportunities for the investor who doesn't really want to learn anything?
So for passive investors, we do not currently have a fund. We have plenty of private equity money, but if they do want to reach out to us, we can definitely recommend some people,
Okay.
or some ideas. Some people who don't want to be that active can definitely reach out to ask questions, curiosities, what it means. Certain situations you need to be accredited investor to get part of these kind of funds.
Yeah.
Sometimes you can get in different ways. So there's just different opportunities that you can reach out to us and find out if there's availability for you. The one thing I would say is that this business is capital rich, so you need to have some capital.
Yeah.
It's not easy to borrow money to buy a debt. It just doesn't work as well.
Yeah. It's in a way, the whole thing is an alternative funding thing outside of the mainstream banking and mortgage system, and so it takes some a lot of understanding of how it works and some creativity sometimes, yeah, so for sure.
Absolutely.
So shall we take a look at your website and just about
Absolutely, sure.
the myriad of resources offered on the website?
Yes, we try to eliminate as much as we can, but it gets a little bit too consuming for a lot of people when you get into the space. We actually have, if you go to the note investing /note investing page, it actually has different rankings. So if you're level 1, level 2, level 3, level 4, you really can kind of figure out if you're a beginner, right? If you're advanced, or if you're experienced. So if you're a beginner just starting out, one of the best things is just to grasp yourself around all the resources and find out what fits you, right? Jump into our Facebook group, start asking questions and curiosity. But we also have a ton of different tools and forms and understanding of what we do. We also have a great blog system that we kind of wrote up different kind of areas that we found people struggle with. Our beginner series came from that idea of taking the most top 15 questions, top 20 questions we've seen over 13 years, and put it into a quick 15-minute video for each topic. So that kind of helped people to get started, because people gonna get stuck, and it's not an expensive thing. It's $70, and you just jump in and start watching it and start learning from stuff. This due diligence tool you're seeing here is our portal that we created internally for ourselves, that we actually provide to the public now, where you can go in there, you can get over 60 different data points per property address, from values to things such as foreclosure dockets, also maybe last sold date, last listed date, days on market for the average, population size, and things like that, along with the REO agent information, as well as resources such as your servicers, your attorneys, your agents, and things like that in a resource section of that platform. It's really helpful for those who are just getting started to dive in.
Then you have some webinars here.
Yeah, we run a webinar every about 2 weeks. We run it through LinkedIn and Facebook. It's through our Facebook page, and we stream it live. We have special guests who are experts in the field in different areas. As you can see in the bottom of the page, you actually see all of our YouTube links to all our past videos, as well as our upcoming events that we have coming up. Keep scrolling down. You actually see the whole list streamed from YouTube at the bottom. But if you do want to get this webinar list added to your calendar, you can definitely do that at any time. And you basically won't miss an upcoming live video. Everyone is recorded and brought to our YouTube channel as well. I think we have about 300 of them or so. So if you start watching them, good luck, enjoy.
Yeah. So those are all free.
Absolutely free.
All free. Yeah.
It's amazing. This space is all about giving.
It's all about giving. Yeah, for sure. No, that's just absolutely tremendous. So I guess I got a link here somewhere.
Sure.
To get into the website. Well, put your name back up on the screen here, and then because you have a LinkedIn profile, people can find you on LinkedIn.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And then there's the website that we were just looking at, jkpholdings.com, where you could probably keep you busy for the rest of your life.
we try to not overwhelm people, but we also want to make sure that if you get stuck, you can definitely find what you need to find.
Well, I like those little videos because they're probably not that long, but they talk about one little issue.
We have one of our beginning series videos, the beginner series, it's all about servicing. What is a servicer? What's the point of it? What do they handle? So it breaks that down to a very fine tooth so you understand the best of what is a note servicer.
Yeah, no, this is fabulous. It's just a tremendous resource. And so how do you normally work with your clients, like for the investors? Like what does that look like for them?
So a lot of times we have assets for sale that are a combination of our assets plus other sellers' assets that we're collaborating with over the years. We work with them to either build them up as better investors. We build them up through our beginner series. Then we go to our advanced series, which is all about due diligence and getting to the fine tooth of stuff for those who want to get into the point where they're buying 10, 20, 30, 50 notes. And then we have our private call, which we have for those who are extreme experience. That call is for specific people who are almost an invite only kind of call, that are experienced people who want to share and willing to give, as well as learn from others who are extremely experienced, not only in the note space, but note originators, servicers, and attorneys who join up to just share information and ask questions. So we have all different levels of information, from our Facebook group to our YouTube channel to our trainings, but also our assets for sale. If you're interested and you're looking for additional information, please feel free to reach out.
No, that's fabulous. So yeah, again, go join the Facebook community, subscribe to the link or the YouTube channel, attend some webinars, and reach out if you're looking for some notes.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. Well, thank you very much for joining us today, and this has been tremendously helpful for people. And
thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Yeah, you're doing a good work in the world. So,
we try.
Well, anyway, well, thank you for joining us, and we'll talk to you later. So
sounds great.
Happy Wednesday, everyone.
Thank you very much.